Happy Saturday, folks. Another beautiful day, so I figured we would jump in, do another live broadcast for some bonsai art this beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Central Texas. Had an opportunity to get some absolutely beautiful Japanese boxwood. Been kind of working on some right here. Want to go over that with you guys. Plenty of sunshine, plenty of birds out here singing to us. Absolutely beautiful day to be talking about living art. So before we get started, I've been talking about investing in an art form that could literally take you out to the rest of your life, and I think that's pretty awesome. So what I did is I went on Amazon and I started looking at basic like tree and bonsai books, right? So for example, we got this Essential Tips 101 for bonsais. Now, this came from Goodwill for $1.98, plus $2 and some odd cents worth of shipping on Amazon. So, for less than $5, you got a 101 Essential Tips, get you started in a hobby, right? So, this one, I happen to still have the receipt, and the receipt says that this book from where the hell is it from? Somewhere. It's from somewhere because it came here, but it cost me $2.14. So this book right here, it's absolutely beautiful book. I think it came from Goodwill. Honestly, I think all these came from Goodwill. It came from Goodwill for $2.14 off of Amazon. Plus, they probably charged me more in shipping than the book. And the last one I wanted to go over was, I think it's really important if you're going to get into a hobby that involves keeping something alive, that you should probably grab like a National Geographic pocket guide to trees and shrubs, especially for North America. So if you're in South America and you're looking up trees, bring that with you. But we're in North America, and since I'm in Texas, I may grab one for Texas specifically too. So, these are, I probably have, the shipping cost me more than the books, folks. The shipping cost me more than these books. So just to kind of give you an actual physical reference to the art of bonsai and to the ability to start your own lifelong hobby. And so, some of these Japanese boxwoods were for sale at Walmart. I told you that, there's a lot of really good deals at the nurseries if you know what you're looking for. And so what I want to do is come on here and just kind of talk about how to find good bonsai stock, even at your local Walmart parking lot, because that's pretty much where these came out of. And then my goal is, I've got 3 here that I just kind of randomly picked from the ones that I grabbed. I had already started breaking some apart, and I was like, man, it's such a beautiful day for bonsai art, for living art. So, I got this deep into it, and I said, we've got to stop. Everybody needs to be able to watch a little bit of bonsai art on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. So here I am kind of jumping in, and we're going to talk a little bit about shaping some of these absolutely beautiful trees. And you can see how I cleaned it up. I repotted this. I brought it up to the first stems right here, cleaned off all of that extra foliage so that I can open this up. Now, if you're looking at it correctly, you can see the oblong triangle that's going to eventually develop. So I don't want to take too much foliage off yet. I want to give it a chance to fill in that triangle down here. And then you see there's a point right here, and I hope that the sun lets me show you guys. There's a point right here that'll eventually go all the way across. So what I've got to do is just allow this foliage to kind of fill this in. And then I'll keep pulling the foliage off from the lower branches so that they'll grow higher to get better foliage and fill in. So, and the idea behind doing this right now is, I've been encouraged by a lot of people and told that I should start making a bunch of these and maybe even bring them down and put them up for sale at the Rockdale Marketplace on Saturdays. Maybe do some live tree work there while we're offering these trees. I would like to, again, work with homeowners about maybe coming and getting some of your old brush lines or bush lines and shrubs. And what I'd like to do with maybe some of those, and I can always the idea would maybe put your name tag on it, so when it does go up for auction in a local charity case, your name's on the tree. We just got it prepped for auction. I think that would be a great way to maybe raise some money for a local family that lost family or something, and you get a tree out of it. And there may have been a video of me making it right now. So this is another beautiful one. These I actually tore apart, and you're going to see some of these I'm going to tear apart, some of them not. They're just good bases, and there's no reason to ruin that. But you can see how I ripped this apart. There was 3 of these Japanese boxwoods in here, so that's how I got all these. But you can see how clean this up, and again, I'm going to encourage pad growth down here, because I want these future limbs to grow tall. I want this to fill in. And of course you can see we've got that triangle again, kind of oblong, and what'll come down is eventually, because there's a bunch of trees right in here, heavy bush line right in here, limb line, that'll eventually be the line, and then all of these limbs right here will eventually get all that foliage will get taken off. But I need to promote limb growth on some of these smaller lower limbs so that I can get them to fill in that space right there. And so I think that these are going to be great trees as they grow in their pots. I'm probably going to get some pots for some of these so I can put them up for sale. But just kind of wanted to go over what we're working on so far. This one is absolutely spectacular. We can see how I pulled out all this foliage so that you could see as I am moving this around in the sun, so you can see it up a little higher. You can see how I pulled out all of that foliage, and that will come out, and then eventually, like I said, we're gonna pick a line. But you see how, like, right here you got this, and you've got this, and then eventually you'll have that. Okay, so that's really what we're setting up on each one of these future ones. I didn't bring the turntable out today because I figured we're just gonna be tearing stuff apart and repotting them, and you guys get to watch how I'm gonna pull this one up. So I stopped at this one so that you could see me start to work on them. And I know that it's a little bit windy out here, so I hope it's not too loud, and it will probably move the camera around. Again, this is kind of a solo show. There might be shows where I'm out in the woods all by myself looking like a weirdo freak with a backpack and digging up trees, of course with permission from the landowners. But I figured I got this in the pot and I was like, whoa, we need to stop. Let's work on this together. So you can see how I've got a little bit of dead growth right here. And so this one, you can already see how I started pulling all of this away. And so if I can come in here with my fingers and I can just pull off that foliage, it's going. Okay, so we've got this. I'm just kind of, and I may hit a point. See how this one right here, I need this to come out because it's going to have to fill up. It looked like it tried to shut off on me. I don't know, guys. All right, so we'll just keep winging it. All right, so we've already got kind of a dense triangle here, and that means that I need to kind of come in. Sometimes giving these bushes just haircuts, so you can see how this comes up too high. So I'm going to pull this out, and I want to snip, 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 and you see how now I've got this. And now let's look at this. So this is too long, but I don't want to lose it, so I'm just gonna snip it, okay? Because again, this is gonna be a couple-year project. I'm gonna leave some of the foliage on the bottom ones. All right, I think I've just got to move the camera because it keeps losing connection, and so we're just gonna kind of keep working. I've got the sun blinding me, but I can sort of see I'm in frame. So keep working with me here. Again, absolutely beautiful tree. This will be for sale here probably the next couple of weeks. What's great is if I can sell some trees that people get to look at every day in their own home, and I can affect that. So this tree is now somebody's responsibility, and they may give it to their grandchildren, someday. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, and I'm excited to be a part of that. So without further ado, what I want to do is grab this big mamby-jamby right here, and we're going to start tearing her apart. Obviously, I need to bring my tools. Got a hoof pick right here, valuable tool. Sometimes this is great, but a lot of times being able to get in, and like I was saying before, getting in, being efficient about when you're tearing these apart, you have to understand that you are doing, you know, one heck of a, you know, a lot of work on this tree. Sorry guys, the wind is picking up, and so let me see if I can actually just turn this. Work with me, guys. Work with me. I don't have any staff, so you know this is all on me. And thought I had it set up pretty good, but maybe not. Maybe not. And so let's just get this. All right. All right. Let's see if it's. I want you guys to be able to see how bad I just rip these things apart, man. And hopefully we can just get to a point, guys, where I kind of did rush this, so I admit, you know, I'm just trying to get the phone to set down right so it doesn't move too much into the wind. Maybe lean it up against the table a little bit. But it's important to see how much I can actually just rip these trees, these bushes apart, and make sure that, let me see here. Okay, let's try this. All right, so it doesn't really matter if I'm in frame. You guys still know I'm here. Got it for cheaper than this, just had to buy a bunch of them. And so what we're gonna immediately do is we're just gonna turn it upside down. And you can just hit it a few times. There's a hole in the bottom. You know, sometimes, woo, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, good Lord. All right, so yeah, so we've got way a lot of overgrowth, so this is where this kind of comes into play, so I can get in here and be really gentle and see what I'm looking at. Okay, now there's 3 here, but you know, the more you dig in, you might realize that they can come apart, although this one kind of looks like I'm going to keep them together because they look really good. So what I'm trying to do is just pull up. Nope. There we go. Break out the big guns. All right, so I now know we have 2 trees. Okay, that's all I need to do. Kind of break them apart. See? Now I can come in here, and I know where that's. Break out this, and I just kind of work my way in. I'm not trying to rush. I'm enjoying the experience. I know the camera's moving, but I'll spend a little bit more time next time preparing. So what I want you guys to do is see that right there, just tearing it apart. These things are amazing survivors. They'll deal with a lot. And so at this point now we have 2 absolutely beautiful. And again, I'm just going to kind of move slow so I don't move the camera around too much. Normally I would already be done with this, but look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. Look at this trunk right here. So, and then look at this one. Now I have a 2 trunk one. Okay, we're going to clean all this up and we're going to make it look good. Let me just set this off to the side. We're going to pay attention to this one. All right, so let's look at that. We've got a nice carved bark. Look at, I've got beautiful root right here. That's staying on, folks. Well, let me do this. Where is this? Okay. So that's got to stay on because I want root. Roots make them look older, but I can come through here and cut all that off. And I generally want to cut a bunch of this stuff off anyway. So now I can come in. This is where this might be better. Because again, I just want to kind of pull this out. Look at all that. Look at all that. So, you know, this is good, but not great. Let's get rid of it. Goodbye. 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 And goodbye. Okay. So we've got that. You know, this one, normally I wouldn't come in with scissors to cut the taper roots and a lot of these feeder roots, but this just kind of works. And it's, again, I'm trimming the same way, and I want to promote, so I'm going to lay it like this, okay? So I'm going to lay it so that feeder root goes in and this comes off, and that's kind of what I want. You can see that. So let me get out. Actually, this may require a little bit bigger pot. All right, so just put some in here, get that started. So I started it off with, again, 50% sand, 50% topsoil, or potting soil from Walmart. It's just a good mix. I'm trying to get as much of the old soil put back in there on a layer, and then I am going to stick it right like this. And the reason I want to promote this, I want to promote that. I don't know if you guys can see that. We'll get better about this. And that's what we want, okay? Let me get some of that other stuff, and we just kind of work it in, you know. And so already you can see that this is going to be in, and see, the way that this will fill in is it'll make it look like it's a support root. And of course, over the next year or two, this will be, and again, I'm being pretty gentle. I don't want to move the camera much, guys. You know, I really appreciate the support. A lot of people just in person around town, and, you know, playing pool at one of the local bars. People are super encouraging. The idea of expressing a hobby that you could be virtually broke, and there we go. So now we've kind of got this. We've got this in the pot. I'm just going to kind of make sure it's standing up correctly. I don't want to. Sometimes, you know, you can be putting this in here and then you realize. See, look at that. That's absolutely beautiful, if you can see that right there. And then we've got that support root back here that we're really going to promote, because that gives it uniqueness. All right. So now we've got this in the pot, and we have to. You see the way that this is going. So eventually, I'm going to stand this up a little bit more as it comes in. That way, we can kind of promote that back root. You know, let's leave some of that for that other tree. Just kind of push this in, okay? And you can see where, you know, you can see where I'm going to start. I'm going to pick a line, okay? So some of this is going to come out. I'm going to do it on all sides too, guys. I'm not just going to do it on one or two sides. This is a three-dimensional piece of artwork, so you have to move it around. So you go, all right, this is out, but then it's going to come up here. You've got a pretty good. Now you've got a pretty good idea of what's actually coming off. All right, so this one, again, you're going to promote, so you might leave these alone. Some of these I might wire out a little bit later after we go through the transplanting, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to beat it up too much during the transplanting. But just, you know, if this is a absolutely horrible broadcast, you can always yell at me later. And so what I want to do is just kind of come in here and, you know, see, I like this one because this one's a little bit longer, so I can reach in and see. I'm going to let that. So, but some of these leaves I can pull off. Like that. Okay. You see how I'm kind of just opening it up so that we can start to define the base here. Okay, so, you know, I keep coming in. Some of these I can just pull. Some of them I'm going to cut because I want to open up the base. And if you see any cross, like I was saying last time, see, that's crossing, that's got to come out. That branch cannot stay. It's got to go. You've got to get to stepping. No cross branch. All right, so, and even if you're gonna, I don't know who that is, guys. I'm sorry. It probably sucks. Everybody's trying to tell me that I suck. We're just gonna go with this. So, we're just gonna keep kind of cutting the back here. I was just kind of doing this on my own and enjoying. Holy jeez! What the hell? I was not supposed to do that. Oh boy, that was a happy mistake. That was definitely a happy mistake. Okay, so like this one, you can tell I'll come back later. It's already got a bend. It's already got a bend right here. So I'll pull that out with some wire. So you can kind of see this is already, you know, see how these two are almost the same. So I have to pick which one is going to go higher. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to make this a little bit higher than this next bush, or this next this next line. So I want to come down and see how I'm looking at. You've got one layer. Okay, this is the inside, so we're going to do that one first. Okay, so that's got to go out. And then most of this, I like to just kind of, if I can roll off, you know, and see that. So that's just me sort of cleaning this up, and you can kind of see, you know, I'll water the absolute hell out of these guys when we're done here. And, you know, over the next couple of days, I'll just probably keep picking at it, you know, because that's part of the hobby is you come out and then you start working on your bonsai. You make sure that it's excuse me, nice and good. And eventually this will look good. I'm going to wire this up at some point. In fact, I'm thinking, because it splits right there. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that, and then we're going to take that off. Okay. So you see how it kind of comes this way, and then it's going to go up. And that gives me my, you know, again, that gives me my, it's going up. Now see, I can come here and I go, ooh, that's still a little too much. You know, so there's a reason why I bought chalk sticks, because they work well. Then you come back here and you go, that's too much. And you come back here, you decide that the ones on the inside, guys, they're always going to kind of, I like to hit them a little bit and let the outside ones grow, because the insides are going to, they're closer to the stalk, I believe. Sorry, guys. And so, you know, we're just going to keep, I don't even know who's calling me. I'm sorry for whoever's calling me. Hope it's not an emergency, because we're just doing this live. And I'm just going to kind of keep moving this around, and you can see. All right, so we're on to the next one. Remember, this was 2 or 1. Now we make 2. So I'm going to come in, and I want to get rid of all of this stuff on the bottom. So, you know, in the interest of not moving the camera around too much, I'm going to kind of be super gentle here. Just kind of, I don't know if you guys can hear that, all that crunching. It's great. It's great. Look at all that. That comes out. We just want to kind of, like we said last time, make sure that we get all that microbes that we know are in there. Can't see them, but we know are in there. And then we kind of toss that, toss that, toss that, toss that. Goodbye. 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 So we're still too wide, I think. We still need to come in, pull out. See how I can, this is a little bit easier for me to handle. I can get in here. What I do when I repot these is I'm going to kind of try to push that back together. Get that started. Alright, so, you know, like I said, because we have such a huge void right here, what I'll do is I'll probably take some of this, stuff it right in here, and make it into a ball. And so when I plant this, it's got a whole bunch of its old soil with it, you know. So let's just get that started. I'm just trying to find, I don't know why it keeps going out. I don't know if you guys can see this right here. I suck. You guys can tell me plenty later. That's okay. So I put too much in there, obviously. I need to pull this back out. Remember how we said I'm going to grab a bunch of this? I'm going to stuff it back in here, right? And then that's when I'm going to stuff it. Well, you know what? Let's put this in a bigger pot. And suburbia, folks, suburbia. So let's put that over there. Now we'll just move the bigger pot in here. I think this plant will be a little bit more comfortable. Let's get all my tools get dirty. That's why after I turn the camera off, I'm usually cleaning them too. Along, you know, I always want to make sure that I'm putting in fresh soil. You know, so I'll do a layer of fresh soil and just kind of work it in. I know that the watering is going to work in most of this soil on top, so I usually just do layers of the old soil, new soil, old soil, new soil, and so that the microbes are being promoted in the dirt, the bacteria, the fungus, the yeast, all of the things that are necessary for the health of this tree have just been given a boost because, you know, I've been mixing new soil with the old. So everything in here is promoted for the benefit of the tree. And now we kind of come here and we look, and of course you can immediately see that's got to go. And so the reason it's got to go is because it's almost higher than this. So what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll cut that, and then I'll cut this down. So what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to promote that. But let's get that out of the way so these two go, you know, and so that right there. So you can already see that we've already kind of got this. That's already established. So that's what's kind of good about sometimes, like, if you're a novice, you kind of don't know what the hell you're actually doing, and you're afraid, you know, finding good stock at Walmart or Home Depot, and you know, and using that as a great way to start your collection is okay, because especially if it's on sale, like, let's just face it, guys, if it's on sale, like, it's on, you know, you should be buying it and just giving it a try. What do you've got to lose? Worst case scenario, it turns back into a bush, and you turn it into a bush on your property, you know. So it just seems to me like see how there's a line coming, you can see it. The tree's telling me the line is right here. Now, why is the line right here? Because maybe we can see that right there, see that right there, and you see this right here. So that tells me right there, see that, you have that branch, you have this branch, we've actually got 3 branches over here. So that tells me that's what we're working on. Maybe I'll get down on it so it's easier for me to see. There we go, guys. So we're just gonna pull this out, and then remember, we've got our line now. Okay, so we've got our line, and so I'll take anything below that line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up to all of this, and then I'm going to get in here and I'm going to open up. Okay, I'm just going to open up this area in here, right? So I'm opening that up to promote growth. So we can obviously see, like, we've got a branch right here that does not work. So we're going to get, let's go trace it back. Oh, it's broken. That's what happened to it. So it's just going to come in here and toss it. So, you know, and that's it, man. Like, you do this with your kids a little bit. So, these guys. All right, so let me just tell you, these things are nail pullers, right? Most of you recognize them almost immediately. And so, like, I had a friend of mine, and she was looking at some of these bonsai tools, and, you know, these were like $40 for a set of 3. She's like, those are nail pullers. And I looked, as soon as she said those are nail pullers, I was like, that's it, they're nail pullers. So for, like, you know, $20, you got a set of nail pullers that they're trying to sell to you. You know, there's a couple of them. So, you know, these are really good about getting super close to the bark, so that I can take it all the way down if I want straight to the bark, because it has a flat, it's a nail puller, so it has a flat head on it, you know. So again, we've got to start on this one. Okay, we've got our lines, and we've got our triangle. Okay, and then we've got the start of a beautiful, absolutely beautiful bonsai right here, you know, and that's got to go. So this is almost ready for me to move on to another one that's got to go. So what we're doing is we're just taking and cleaning up the inside a little bit. Alright. Some of this, you know, it's okay to get in there with your hands. You know, just maybe it's just what it's called for. And you go, see? Whatever. Did not want to do that. I meant to do that, but that's okay. That's okay. Now it's open. Yeah, whatever. See, you know why I can be like that? Because this tree's never going to stop growing, guys. Never, ever, ever. Not until it dies. Unlike you and I, we just stop growing at a certain point, obviously. This tree's never going to stop growing. So, you know, if I cut off a fat limb that I was like, son of a bitch, it may legit just change the rest of what I do to the tree. You know? So, see how that's going to be too high? And I don't want that. And I don't want that. And I don't want that. That's my peak, right? So I just kind of keep coming around. And we're going to let this grow into the triangle that I want. Okay? So again, it looks weird right now because it's new. But you see this? It'll shape out, and then we have back here. You can see how it's going to come out, and then it'll shape up. So this is going to be a great bonsai. If I don't drop it as I put it on the ground like a dumbass. All right, let's try another one. See if we can keep this going. Okay, so you know, just got to kind of can do this nice and light. You don't want to be. Sometimes it's okay to just take your time. You know, bonsai is one of those things that just requires time. You know, and you're looking at a couple-year project a minute. Holy shit! All right, yeah. So you're always, you know, you're kind of looking at a couple-year project when you're working bonsai. So we do have a lot of new growth in here, so that's really important. And I'm just going to kind of pull it all away, you know. And so sometimes, yeah. All right, so sometimes to really get an idea of what we're working with, you may just have to get in there and start cutting. You know, you got to open it up so you can see what you're working with. You just want to make sure that, see, I wouldn't want to cut that yet. I'm trying to cut the inside branches. See, like that right there. Just kind of follow it, pull it out. All right, and so what that did is it allowed me to kind of open it up a little bit. I'm just going to kind of roll around and see what I'm working with here. All right, so, you know, worst case scenario, I just kind of reach in. See all that? See all that in there? So you can already tell, like, this isn't gonna take much. All I gotta do is just keep the sides from overgrowing the top. You know, so the top will probably come up to here. This tree probably won't get any taller than 18 inches. If it's done right, it won't get taller than. And you start looking at which ones you can get rid of, and I like to go inside first and work my way out. Each bonsai artist is going to do their own way. You know, it's just going to happen. And see how I take a couple of small ones and come in here, get that out. All right, so. See how now we're clearing it up. Look at that base. Look at that base. Now we're starting to see what we're working with, right? So, you know, a lot of times with these guys, so I can come in and be like, do I really need this right here? And the immediate answer is negative. See, I'm taking a huge chunk of this off. So what I need to do at this point is I got to stop. I got to set that aside because I need to get all of this kind of broken up. Again, I need that mycelium in there come out. So I don't need the roots necessarily as much as I need the mycelium. So I'm going to break up the mat and get the dirt out a little bit. You know, I don't need it all right away. I can come back later and get the... But I like to do this out of respect for the amount of time the plant spent making that root ball. So we're back here. Okay. And then again, I'm just going to I'm going to do this kind of off the table so it doesn't mess up the camera. But you can see how I'm just rotating it slowly, creating a huge pile of extra dirt. You know, you can see where I was holding on to it over here. You know, and you see how horse hook, perfect. See, this is for bigger plants. I feel like, you know, if I was to really have to get into some of the bigger bonsais that we may work on in the future, what I'm trying to do is break up this. Now you see how I'm coming in here. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. So the reason, what I'm talking about, that is going to give us plenty of character. You know, so like there's a lot of character to this tree once you start pulling out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you know, start pulling out all that dirt. Yeah, so we start pulling out all that dirt, and eventually all of those roots will start showing through. And so that'll help make the tree look way older. You see how we've got, so we've already got a clearing right here. So that's what I want to work from when I continue to look for ways to minimize the foliage on the inside. Now again, the reason that we're doing foliage reduction on the inside is because it's going to promote growth on the outside. And it sounds weird, but it's the same thing as getting your hair cut. When you cut your hair, it grows. Some say that the longer you cut your hair short, like shaving like I do, you know, the tougher the hair is. I don't think it matters anymore, because I don't think there's any hair growing anyway, so you know, you just kind of accept it. Nobody's giving this guy a haircut like a bonsai, because there's no hair to cut. So you know, that, I don't know, I really want to take that out so that I can clear up some more inside. And I think I'm going to do it. Alright, so, okay. Nail remover. So, the reason I'm using it is I want to get down as low as I can on this, so that when I clip it, it's not visible. Right? So, now that really actually opens up the base quite a bit. We can kind of see that now, hopefully, with the sun shining through it. And these are still, I mean, we still have to keep working those, so they may not make it, but it looks like they might. It looks like they might. So, you know, that's not too many I have to cut out of here, because it's already shaped well. So, you know, just a haircut, folks. Just a haircut. Alright. So we'll leave that. Nope. Nope. So when we get down to it, that's gotta go. Alright. So that's gotta go. And that's gotta go. Okay, so again, we're just opening them up. You know, and if I want to get super close, I'm just gonna bring the nail puller in and I'm gonna nip. Right in there. Alright, so you see how much of that we opened up? And you keep coming through, and you're like, nope, that's gotta go. So, see again, I'm gonna come through with the nailer. We're gonna make it So that it matches it, and bink, there it goes. And goodbye, 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 goodbye. All right. So, yep, there we go. See, we're gonna keep opening up the middle. All right. So now we get into here. So now we get into here. So see how I can. I think we're, you know, for now, I think we might be almost there. We've got a good bowl shape right here, guys. You know, we've got a really good bowl shape right here. And we've got it leaning a little bit. I may need to fix that, you know, but all that root wear, all that's going to be in there. That's going to be nice. You know, we may have to do some more cuttings. Like, I'm okay with them coming back in, but they, you know, we've got to clear them up. So you get too much. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So again, we come back. We're gonna have it come out. We've got a line started. So you know, we've got a line started, right? So you that's your line. So like all of that, all of this may have to come out, you know. Yeah, it does. And see, you're just establishing that line for the bonsai. The bonsai tells you exactly what it wants, because with a little bit of theory and a little bit of practice, it's not hard to figure it out, you know. Again, when you hear me say no cross branching and you see cross branching, what are you gonna do on your own? You're gonna take it out. So, you know, just by listening and watching me, this is super relaxing for me. For a lot of people, it's actually super relaxing. Just to think about it. Excuse me. And of course, you see me coming in, and I'm just taking little budlets. Just little budlets, just cleaning it up. See, I'm not worried about it. You guys see all this root base? Like I haven't dried it out. It's not dry yet. So what this is just doing is allowing me to kind of get in here and clean all this up before I put it in the pot. Because once I put it in the pot, I don't really want to mess with it much. But you see how we've got a problem? We need this here and this. See that? That's a problem. So what I got to do is come in, cut at angles. Ooh, you see that? See that? That's too high too. That's too high. You know, I get lazy sometimes and don't use the right ones. And the reason you use the right ones is because they have a propensity to cut the tree the way you want it to. And that's helpful. See that? I don't know if I want that to be the main leader right now, but let's go. So we'll let this tell us what it wants to do later, but we've got to get rid of some of this stuff anyway to compensate for the repotting. Let's see. Opening it up, and we're at that line. I'm just going to kind of keep going until I get there. So that line is, and let's see, there we go. That's got to go too. Whoops. So again, coming in here, I'm using a long one so you guys can see it. Gives me a really good flush. If I really want to dig into it, I can dig into it. It gives me that flush. Right. See that cross branch right there? I missed it. I missed it. You guys should be yelling at me. You should be yelling at me. You totally missed it. Yeah, douche. Douche. Well, no, that's a... Let me break out the big guns here. Alright, see, we got that cross branch out. Yeah. You know, let me see if that makes a big difference. If I take that out, that's got it. Alright guys, can you see it? Alright, can you see it? So, this will be the back end. Alright, this will be the north end. So I'm going to let this kind of grow. And I lose all my tools because I'm just throwing shit everywhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, you can see, let's keep doing this. You can see how I'm setting my lines. So eventually this is going to come up like this. This is all going to kind of come up like this. And as we keep going, see, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It's a lot of greenage in here. As this continues to grow, I'll continue to clean out the inside of this tree right up in here. So eventually it'll cone out, and then the whole inside of this tree will be cleaned out. This is going to be really nice. So it's going to be really nice. And you know, the base right here is awesome. Look at that. Look at that base, man. So, you know, obviously I've got to, and this is a Walmart specials scissors. So, you know, that's dollar scissors. So does it hurt my feelings that it's cutting dirt? Negative. Negatory. Does not hurt my feelings at all. For $1, I'll go grab a few more. And I think you should too. And just have a few in your bonsai toolkit. You know, somebody was asking me today about how much I have in the toolkit now. I thought about it, and I've probably got maybe $65 total. Much of which I already had, so it wasn't like I was going out and buying a bunch of new. It's just going and collecting it, like the files and stuff. So you see how I've dramatically reduced that base. We've got an amazing tree. We're starting, and you know, of course, once you guys start, like once we start doing a class, you'll you'll be out here in the morning, you know, right before you gotta get in the car to take the kids to school or something, drinking your coffee, and you've been looking at that branch for 3 days now, and you just can't stand it. Finally, and you go pluck it, and it makes your day feel better, you know. Like, that's your contribution today to creating an amazing tree. And you can see how we've started. So it's going to come up again, it's going to come up like this, right? And then we'll turn in, and all of these will kind of, so this one will have it'll have a peak at some point, but this is pretty good. We've got a great start on it. I think it's got to go into another larger pot, so let's just get one of those ready. I want to thank everybody again. I know that I started off, you know, thanking everyone for their genuine support locally in the community. That's actually pretty awesome. I appreciate you guys. Let's go. Go, go, go. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. All right. See, look at all that beautiful dirt right there. Look at all that. But we do need to mix it in. So I'm just gonna throw some of this in here. Just kind of mix all that in. So, for most of you, we've been absolutely freaking brutal with this tree. For some people, they may want to cry for it. But I have plans of beauty. I have plans of artwork with this tree. So we're creating art, and all we've got to do is just let nature do what nature does. And, oh no, that's alright. So, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Just keep feeding the old soil out, you know. And we're back to These are really root bound. So you see how the claws are good for certain ones. You know, and see, when I try to separate them and I try to pull them apart, you know, you can tell the ones like earlier that don't, you know, they're gonna separate. But these ones seem like they're gonna hold tight. See, now we're back to using the horse hoof, just kind of looking at the roots. Some of these are gonna come off just because they're too high up. Anyway, we need good, clean. The same thing with roots. Like you can't have cross roots. Look at how nice that is. Look at that. Look at that. So I'm gonna kind of try to shove some dirt back up in there. But we do need to cut it first. Another haircut with $1 Walmart scissors. Okay, so it doesn't take much to do this. A little bit of patience. To me, it's very meditative. Like sometimes I'll be out here super early in the morning when the sun's coming up and I've got coffee. And, you know, I'm looking at the bonsais and I'm watching new growth come in. You know, leaves unfurl. And you can see there's going to be a lot of roots. So I'll cover all those. You know, I want to make sure those all get covered. But I don't know if you guys can see. It's great. All of this will eventually go away. We're going to have a big, fat, matty root mass right there. All right, so this is where we can break open. Again, we're going to kind of come in here, and there's going to be some that just got to go. You got to go, Junior. Jit. Goodbye, Junior. All right, and that one's got to go. That Junior's gone. Gone to the wind. Get the hell out. You're ruining my living sculpture. All right, so we got some of that out there. You guys see how immediately, well, I don't know if I like that. Well, maybe. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're going to plant that one right now. That is a future bonsai. See how there's, look at that. So perfect taper roots. That's future bonsai. Ooh, and we've got, that's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. Give it to somebody as a gift for marriage or birthday. You know. Make sure it's in the middle. Look at that, right in the middle. Making something beautiful. We have something beautiful happen. What just happened? Goodbye, 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 goodbye. All right, so she just fell out. You see how I'm saying, like, sometimes these things will just, they're like, nope, I'm exodusing the hell out. Give me my own pot. So I said, yes, ma'am, you get your own pot. Live on Facebook. Get your own pot. Live on Facebook. Be real interested to see how that one turns out. So, come back here. We've got some great bases. I don't want them to come apart. I'm not going to tear them apart. They do need to go into a bigger pot. So, let me just throw a bunch of this back in there. Okay. So. Yep, there we go. Do I want it a little bit higher? I may. Yeah, I do want it a little higher. There we go. Yep. Yep. You see how I'm taking the roots on the side and I'm just kind of shoving them down. Alright, just really just to kind of start it, guys. You know, that's all we need to do is we're really just repotting these for a future bonsai enthusiasts who want to buy them. Again, I'm planning on maybe start taking some of these once they're ready and showcasing them around town at the different festivals or different organizations that get together throughout the summer. Look at that. See, that is going to be beautiful. So I'm okay with throwing a whole bunch of extra soil, even though it may look like I lose my base. All of this will eventually compact down, and you're going to have an absolutely wonderful base. And there you go. Just kind of trying to get the new soil and the old soil together. And again, guys, I do apologize. Like, I'll try to find a good spot around the yard that puts me in the sun, so that you have plenty of sun to see what we're doing to the plant. I think that's the best lighting, especially when you're trying to promote like living art. Like, why are we not? Why wouldn't we do it in the sun? So, I got a little ahead of myself here. So I'm just going to do that. You see how I'm going to come in? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So you see how you've already kind of got your... Whoop! So you probably already know what's coming. You probably already know what's coming. That one's coming down to there. That one's going to come down to there. We're going to, just keep working our way around. See? Nope. And nope. Negative. Negative. And we're just going to kind of keep coming around. Just trying to shape the tree. Right? So, again, you don't want anything that's going to be taller than this. So you come in here. Snip. Snippity snip snip. Doobity doop doop. Goodbye. And goodbye. Goodbye. So you see how I go snippity, snip, snip. Snippity, snip, snip. Alright. And what are we creating here? What are we creating here? We're creating a damn mess. That's what we're creating, because it's Saturday afternoon. It's beautiful here in Texas. Blessed to be here. Thankful to be able to share this art with you guys. And what I'm going to try to do is just rotate it around. And you see how now I've got my... See that? Alright. So I already know those are going to come off, because they mess up my line. See? So now we know. Guess what's coming off right here? I think I'm going to take that whole one off. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, now see, now where are we going to establish the line? So I may pick this branch right here. I'm going to pick that branch right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. This one right here. So I'm going to kind of stick it like this. Basically anything below that, it's got to come out. So, that's just me kind of going in, with my fingers. Just kind of pull out whatever I can right now. See that? And we just keep working ourselves around. Guys. So part of me really wants to do this inside a studio with lighting and create something beautiful that you can hand down to your kids. Imagine teaching your kids this. So at 8 or 9 or 10, and life can be hard for everybody, no matter what age you are. To teach them the meditative art of coming out and sitting with their trees and learning to appreciate the patience of it all. The idea that keep kind of doing this. I'm gonna roll it up into the sun here so you guys can see how much we've cleaned out. And so I'm already thinking about taking that. That I'm gonna take anyway. Yeah, let's see. So see how that opened that up? I really liked it. That let's get deeper in there. Alright guys, and so let's say that one's done, or nope, no, I gotta come back over here. See, I gotta flip this over. See, I didn't keep my line over here, so I've still got to come through here. We're gonna tear, so we're gonna tear that out. Goodbye and goodbye and goodbye. And so this stuff just, you know, I can just come in and peel out. And what we're trying to do is showcase the tree. The tree is beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to see the intricate? I forgot those. I want this to come all the way out. All right, let's get down on our knees. We can kind of, you know, make sure that, like, what I want to do is make sure that I'm looking at it level, and I can already tell, like, I missed. Like, I don't need that. I can pull that out, and you know. But you see that you can get your line, even if it's on a small woody branch. You want to still get your line established. See, we've got our line established now. I can kind of see that, and then, you know, the nice part is that you don't necessarily have to start these from seed, because geez, why would you want to do that? It'll take for damn. That'll take forever. So, you know, it's okay to get down and kind of get up in there. I have to take my sunglasses off so I can see. Looking at that, don't want to take it, but it looks like I tried. All right, so these boxwood into some bonsais. These ones are gonna head out super nice. This one is probably the best one so far. So let's just put this one down, and since I'm already on the knees, I'm low enough to just make this easy. Let's do a quick run through. Goodbye. So I do want to take that, but I am going to let that develop. I want to let that develop. This tree does need some more work, but I would rather get a good base in it, you know, because it's got to come up. Actually, let me stand it just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right, and then there we go. There we go. And so it's okay to come back and go, holy shit, I missed a bunch of stuff. You know, that's why we do it. But you can see, again, you know, I want the tree. So, goodbye, and goodbye, and goodbye, and goodbye. And see, I'm not going to hit that. I should, actually. I'm going to butt it out. Same with these over here. I actually make it a little bit lower. Go a little bit lower. You know, again, they can always grow into it, but you can see, you know. And so we've got a swooping motion on this one. So it'll come out, it'll come up eventually. You can see how I'm gonna let it come up eventually like this, and then it'll go like that. Come to the inside, open it up a little bit, and yeah. So again, we've got our line. You can kind of see the line right here, you know. And then you've got your line like this. You've got your line like this, and your line like that. So this is going to turn into an absolute times you go, Well, you know, I've got to, that's got to go. Okay. See. See how we've got our triangle. Let that stay. But you can see what helps me kind of figure out what I'm taking. Alright. Technically my line is like this. See how I just kind of cleaned all that up? See these more green ones, see how this one's more green? I want to kind of leave that alone as much as possible so that it can harden up a little bit, but you guys can definitely see what I'm doing here is just, again, I've set the line. You guys can see that that's the line that goes right there, and so eventually these guys will all be that line right there. So these are too green for me to take that off, so I'm not going to do that. But you see how, this is too tall, too tall. Snip, snip, snippity, snip, 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 snippity, snip, snip. There we go. Okay, perfect. Look at that. Look at that sniggity, snip, snip. Then we've got a oblong triangle. See how we've got an oblong triangle now. Right, and then when you turn it, you go, holy snippity snip snip, the whole thing does the oblong turn. Right, see that? And eventually we'll clean all this out because we're at that line right now. So, but I'm not gonna, I guess maybe I will, because it'll bother me as an artist. We've just got to get it done, and since I'm here, might as well do it. Might as well snippity snip snip some more. All right. There we go. All right, so you guys can see this is gonna look gorgeous when all of that space fills in and you've got your triangle head. It's got a solid base on it. You know, some of these are a little too far for me to reach over. Grab so you can. We'll go through this again. So you can see I've got most of this done. This one's pretty good. This one's pretty good. Just kind of move some branches, get in there, pull it out. That one's got to go. Well, yeah. Snibbity, snibbity. That's got to go. All right. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. You know, that does not. See, this is a pinchity pinch. You're just pinching them off. All right, so really, I don't like that much. And I feel like these two will do good to fill this in, so I just have to leave that. But man, it looks good. It's cleaned up well. So yeah, that's a good one. I'll step that around. We got a couple more and we're done. Oh, look at the little baby that was born live on Facebook. The little baby Japanese Boxwood. Little baby. Who's adopting this little baby? This little baby needs to be adopted, maybe in a year or so. Alright. Oh, this is going to be a good one too. We didn't get really into it. So you can see the line, right? You can see the line. This one down a little bit. So what we've already done is we've already established the line right here. So that's a lot. So what I may do is just kind of do this line. So let's just get in here and start snipping some of these internal ones to kind of clean up in here. All right. Ooh! Did I take? I didn't cut it all the way through. I didn't cut it all the way through. Don't tell it. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. All right. So we're just gonna keep coming up here. All right. I almost took that off. That would have been bad. So. So we've got a good start on this one. Well, no, we're gonna have to get some snippety, so you can see how that will come out. And I want that to come out and then come up. So we've got a really good, all of this of course we'll have to fill in, but this is gonna be a really good tree. So you can see, you know, that's gonna be a great tree. And last one guys, we're just kind of reviewing. This one still needs plenty of work as I, you know, start to sign off. You know, again, thanks for joining me today. It's probably not been the greatest. I've looked over a few times and it looked like it was struggling to broadcast. So, you know, of course I just have to get better at it, and I apologize, you know, to anybody who gets frustrated with that. I'm frustrated too. Obviously, I want to give you guys a good opportunity to enjoy this. Snippety. There we go. That's what I want. All right. See how we've got with all that snippities? See how we've got all that? We can take some of this out. That way, you can see more of the tree. So I just basically picked, this is north, right? So this tree will sit north, and by picking north, what I did is I all right, yeah, that looks good. So I took a little too much off right here, but that's all right. Again, this is probably, you know, this is at least a year thing. So anyway, guys, you have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoy the video, and reach out if you're interested in doing a class. I know I was talking about doing one. I've got a couple more of these I can do some classes with. I'd like to do small classes, so it's just maybe us. And, you never know, maybe we'll do some barbecuing at the park or something. So you know, maybe I'll jump back on here and do something tomorrow. But if I don't, I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing week. I hope you really take the time to explore this as a hobby. And again, like you can get a tree and shrub book for $3, and you know, a couple of little baby bonsai books for a couple of dollars. Both of these cost less than $3 themselves. Obviously, you know, Amazon loves to get you for shipping. But I would encourage all of you to explore this hobby and reach out if you have any questions. Until next time, guys, y'all have an absolutely amazing weekend and an absolutely amazing week if we don't talk until next weekend. Until then, happy bonsai hunting.